Welcome to the Applicant Guidance session for the Khalifa International Award for Early Learning. My name is Dr. Rachel Takriti and I am a member of the screening team. In the first half of this session, I'll be providing you with guidance on how to prepare your applications, an explanation of the application requirements that you must adhere to, and a detailed overview of the screening process and the criteria for the initial evaluation. In the second half of the session, a past winner will be giving you an example of their successful application so that you can see how it clearly met all of the criteria and was a straightforward review for the screening team to pass on to the awards committee. The first step for the screening team is to ensure that every submission meets the application requirements, which are available in the following documents on the Khalifa International Award for Early Learning web pages. These are the detailed proposal for the guidance sessions, and the updated version of the 19th cycle guidebook. Please ensure that your application meets these requirements, as the screening team will reject any submission that does not clearly demonstrate how the requirements have been addressed. The Khalifa Award for Education adopts the UNESCO definition of early childhood, which includes ages from birth to 8. Every programme and research submission for the Khalifa International Award for Early Learning must address this age group or it cannot be considered. Only applications which are relevant to early childhood education are eligible to apply. The submission can be an individual programme, a group or team programme or research, or it can be a submission on behalf of an institution. However, please note that the CV submitted with the application must clearly and explicitly align with the programme or research project. As this is an international award, the application must be submitted in English, so applications in Arabic or any other language can unfortunately not be considered. Please note you can only apply for one category of the award in every year, and no similar application can have been submitted to any other award in the early learning field for the previous 2 years. Winners of previous Khalifa Awards cannot apply for the same field again and may not apply in any field until 2 years after they have won the award. The submitted work must not have been prepared as part of a bachelor's, master's or doctoral degree requirement or its equivalent. These requirements are checked at the pre-screening stage, but the screening team also double-check if we have any doubts. Applications should be submitted in 12-point font Times New Roman on standard letter size or A4 pages and should not be more than 10 pages single-spaced, including an abstract of not more than 500 words. These word and page counts do not include references, and a maximum of 2 additional pages of figures and/or tables may be included. Overall, the total submission should not exceed 15 pages. The candidates must remember to not use the logo for the Khalifa Award for Education. The submission has to comply with these general instructions, so please ensure that your application, containing all the required documentation for nomination, is submitted, including a CV and a signed agreement to the undertaking. The application and all supporting documents must be submitted electronically through the designated online application platform before the deadline. Any questions on the requirements relating to the Khalifa International Award for Early Learning and the submission process via the application system can be raised with the Khalifa Award by contacting the emails which are shown on the website. In this next section, I'm going to go through the criteria that guide the screening team's review process, starting with the best research and studies category and finishing with the best programmes, curricula, teaching methodologies and practice category. Okay, so first of all, the best research and studies. This category seeks to identify research on early childhood learning and care that supports development in practice. This includes studies that provide innovative solutions to problems, insights into education and teaching that enrich the evidence base for policies and practices and can lead to meaningful improvements in early learning. Research should have been previously published in any form, for example, a government or non-governmental organisation, a book or a book chapter or a journal article. These publications should be the basis for the application, but not the application itself. This is a very important point, as simply submitting a previously published article without explicitly demonstrating how the research meets the criteria of the award would not pass the screening team's review. All applications are screened for their clarity in meeting 4 criteria, which are innovativeness, importance, methodological rigour, and impact. Each submission must demonstrate rigorous evaluation, and the screening team review each of the criteria by considering the following questions. So question number 1, the extent of the innovativeness and originality of the research, particularly, does the research support the development of new policies or practices? Does the research provide new insights into early learning and early childhood education, or alter how these are understood? The second question, the significance or importance of the research. Does the research address one or more critical issues for early learning policy or practice? Does the research include populations or contexts of particular importance, for example, children or contexts that are highly disadvantaged, understudied, excluded, or underserved? The third question, does the research employ appropriate, clearly defined, and ethical methods? Particularly here, we're looking at whether the research methods clearly are described, explained, and are applicable. Has the research been reported in a publication? Do the methods provide a strong basis for trust and confidence in the findings and conclusions? And does the methodology offer a model to inspire and/or be followed by future studies? And the final question is, what are the potential and/or demonstrated impacts? Particularly, what are the implications of the research for practice? This may be for caregivers, teachers, parents, or others who influence young children's learning and development. Does the research have a potential or documented influence on policy or practice? And are the findings and insights from the research applicable to similar populations or contexts elsewhere? It cannot be overstated how important these questions are, as many of the applications received in previous cycles have either failed to address or have addressed superficially these questions. So the best guidance we can give all of you who are looking to submit an application in this category is to write your application explicitly addressing and clearly answering the 4 questions that I've mentioned. Moving on now to the best programmes, curricula, teaching methodologies and practices. This category seeks to identify initiatives, programmes, curricula, teaching methodologies and practice aimed at improving early education of any type, whether through formal organisations, for example, childcare centres and schools, or informal organisations and activities, for example, home learning or home-based childcare. All applications are screened for their clarity in meeting 4 criteria of innovativeness, importance, impact, and feasibility or sustainability. Each submission must demonstrate rigorous evaluation, and the screening team review each application by answering questions under each of the criteria as follows. Firstly, how innovative, creative, and groundbreaking is the programme? Specifically, does the programme inspire or offer a model for new creative approaches to early learning activities in early learning settings, which may include the home and other informal settings, or childcare centres, schools, or other formal settings? Could the approach cultivate dispositions, skills, knowledge, and self-awareness that will shape society for the better? Secondly, how important is the programme? Does the programme address one or more critical issues or problems that families, communities, and broader societies encounter in supporting early learning? What are the programme's goals for expanding access, improving the quality of early learning experiences, or producing better outcomes for younger children's learning? How extensive are the intended changes in practice or outcomes of the programme from what is typical? Thirdly, what are the impacts of the programme? What impacts have been documented by the evaluation using qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods on access, quality of practice, and/or learning outcomes? To what extent have persistent and sustained changes in practice and outcomes been demonstrated using these rigorous evaluation methods? How substantive or transformative is the new programme for practice for those who conduct the programme, so parents, caregivers, or teachers, and for the young children who experience the programme? And finally, how feasible and sustainable is the programme? Specifically, to what extent has the programme or practice been scaled so far? What is the potential for it to be further scaled or adapted to similar populations and contexts elsewhere? How well is the programme documented, and is sufficient information provided to support its replication and implementation? How much does the programme cost, and what resources are required to implement the programme? Once again, it cannot be overstated how important these questions are in putting together a successful application. So once again, the best guidance we can give all of you looking to submit an application is write your application explicitly addressing and clearly answering the questions as I have discussed under the 4 criteria. I hope this clear guidance on how to prepare your application explicitly and clearly addressing the criteria and sub-questions will help your submission progress smoothly through the screening team for evaluation by the awards committee. Good luck.